If you want to buy your first car in Canada, this episode is for you. Welcome to the podcast From Zero to Four Wheels Getting Your First Car in Canada. My name is Nhi Phan and I'm also the content creator and international student in Toronto. Today we've joined with Anand Dandavate, a sales manager at Downtown Hyundai. With over 5 years experience in this industry, today we will share essential tips and insider secrets to help newcomers navigate the first car buying process in Canada. Thank you for joining today. Can you introduce a little bit by yourself and your role at Downtown Hyundai?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for having me. So I'm currently the sales manager at Downtown Hyundai. I oversee a team of 15 salespeople and a few business managers. I'm responsible for my yearly and monthly targets for the dealership, and I also look after the inventory and my entire team.
Enjoy the most when helping the first-time car buyers.
It's a very good question. I think anyone who's buying a first car, it's a big milestone for them. So to help them achieve that milestone, really puts a smile on our face, and that's one of the most rewarding part of my role doing that.
According to experience, what is the difference between a newcomer and the people who live here longer in the car buying process?
So people who've been here for a long time have an understanding of how the process of buying a car is in Canada or in Toronto especially, versus for anyone who's come new. The most important thing for them is to make sure that they have a strong credit. They know the likes of what all you need to look for when you're looking to buy a car.
So for newcomers in Canada, so what is the most important things in the car buying process?
So there are a few things that when you look into buy your car, there are a few things and few costs associated with it. Cost of insurance, gas, parking, maintenance. So when you want to understand an entirety of how much it's going to cost you on a monthly basis, I'm sure everyone who's looking to buy their first car has a budget set in mind. So these are the additional costs and things that you want to look out for when you're looking to purchase your first car.
Okay, I do agree because like financing is very important as well.
Yes.
So what is the mistakes that do you think that usually they have when they decide to buy the first car?
Well, in my experience, one of the biggest mistakes that I would say is when someone comes to look for buying a car, they're primarily focused on the payment. Oh, this is what I want to pay bi-weekly. No one is looking at the total cost of financing, the total price of the vehicle, how much it's going to cost them in terms of insurance, maintenance, as I mentioned, so on and so forth. So in my experience, doing this every day, I would say you want to look at the total cost of the vehicle, what the value is going to be 4 or 5 years down the line, as opposed to just focusing on your payment. Now, when I say that, yes, cash flow is extremely important and you want to know how it's going to fit into your budget, but that's when value proposition also comes into play, and that's something that any buyer, any first-time car buyer should be aware of the situation.
So according to your experience, what should people do to prepare the buying first car in Canada?
So first and foremost, you want to do a thorough research of what vehicle you want to buy. What is the purpose of your vehicle? Is it just from going from point A to point B, or are you looking to make a side hustle and gain some extra income from your vehicle? The second most important to know is the cost associated with it. Especially nowadays, living in the conditions that we live, everyone wants to go buy an SUV. But do you really need an SUV? And how much is it going to fit into your lifestyle? If you have an extended family, or you're having to in the near future extend your family, so you want to think of all these aspects before you're actually coming down and making a decision. Rarely is it about the payment, but it's about what you actually want out of your vehicle. That's very important.
So I have one more question. For a student like us on a budget, so what should they thinking about? Should it buy the new car or used car?
I would strongly say look at buying a used car. And the primary reason for that is anyone who is a student is already in some sort of a student debt. And my advice to anyone who's looking to buy, as a student who's looking to buy a car, would always look at not going all out and buying a used vehicle between 10 and 15,000. That's going to serve their purpose.
So according to experience, what should the first car buyers should do when choosing a dealer?
Yeah, so when you're looking at buying a car, let's say you've narrowed down on the brand and the vehicle you want, the most important thing that you should look for is the right salesperson. Because the salesperson is the one who's going to help you get the best deal possible. It's also a long-term relationship that you're building with them. It's not just about the payment where, oh, this dealership is giving me a payment which is $2 or $3 less expensive. Sometimes in the longer run, it costs you even more. So choosing the right person, and it's not just with cars, right? You in everyday life, you want to work with the right person, with the right mindset, with the right attitude. So the same goes when you're looking to buy a car. So the salesperson, the qualities and the effort that he or she is putting into helping you get the car goes a long way.
So at the dealership, what is the big red flag?
One of the biggest red flags is the salesperson in the dealership themselves giving you a deal that's too good to be true. The salesperson not wanting to give you a printout about the numbers or share and disclose all the fees associated with the vehicle. As I've mentioned, and going back to my earlier point, most of the buyers that come at our store, at a dealership, are focused on bi-weekly payments. Sometimes the bi-weekly payment is way low than what you expect, but what you don't necessarily look at is the term of financing and or leasing. So having a transparent conversation, something that we do at my workplace or my dealership, is we're upfront and transparent from the get-go. We explain all the fees necessary for it. These are the costs that you're going to incur at the time or due on delivery. That's another thing, right? You will have a payment that's probably comparatively lower by a few dollars, but then when you look at the total cost, which is due on the day of you picking up the vehicle, is up by a couple of grand, right? So when you look at it as a whole, transparency, if there is or if you feel that the deal is too good to be true or not enough transparency from the salesperson, that I think is the biggest red flag. Yeah.
So according to you, is leasing is better rather than we buy a new car?
In my personal opinion, and I'm a strong believer of it, and more dealerships and more brands are now going towards this route, is before you make that decision, the first thing you need to understand is how long are you looking to keep the car, right?
Yes.
If you're looking to keep the car for the next 2 or 3 years and you're looking to switch after that, leasing hands down is going to be the way to go. And I'll also go a bit into detail as to why. When you lease a car, you're only paying for the portion that you're using. You're also only paying for you're also paying taxes only on the portion that you're using for the vehicle. When you lease a car, the car is still owned by the manufacturer. So if there is anything mechanically wrong with the car is under the warranty period. The risk is always transferred to the manufacturer. The risk versus reward, leasing is always going to be a better option in terms of cash flow, in terms of maintenance, in terms of if you want to get out of the vehicle soon. Plus, that gives you the benefit of getting a new vehicle every 3, 4, 5 years. Now, if you're someone who's a strong believer that this is the car for you and you're going to keep it for the next 6, 7, 8 years, and you're looking to finance the car, the best way to do so is put a 20% down payment and finance the rest over a period of 4 to 5 years. If that does not fitting in your budget, I don't think that's the right car for you, right? So that's something that you want to consider when you're buying a car. Whenever you walk into a dealership, they're always going to try and upsell you, of course, the greatest and the biggest model out there, because that's how we as dealerships make money, and there's nothing wrong in it. But you as a educated buyer, you should be aware of what you want, because when you walk into a dealership, you're going to see the best model on display with all the bells and whistles, and when you go in there, you want to get that, right? And which is again not a bad thing to do, and it's not the wrong thing to do where you want to get the greatest and the newest model. That's of course everyone wants to do that, but do you see yourself driving this car 5 years from now? Probably not. Then leasing is the way to go. If you think, no, this is the car for you, no matter how much the technology changes, no matter how much fancier these cars get, if you're happy and content with the car you're buying, then minimum 20% down, and you should finance it for not more than 5 years.
Agreed. So according to your experience, like what is the consumers that usually looking for beside the cost in the dealership?
In terms of the vehicle or in terms of additional costs associated with the vehicle?
Beside the cost.
Beside the cost. So especially in the day and age that we're living in, technology is growing, I would say, every minute, right? Mm-hmm. Now, for the brand that I work for, which is Hyundai, we're the most technology-packed vehicle out there, and it is a competitive market, but we excel it by a mile. So, technology is number one. Safety, extremely important, right? You have a newborn on your way, or you're driving a lot, driving 50, 60, 70 kilometers a day. You drive at 110 kilometers on our highway. So technology and safety is something that everyone wants. They want to make sure that the occupants, including themselves, are always going to be safe in the vehicle in terms of in the time that something were to happen to do with the vehicle. So that's another thing. Design, that's another thing. Although design is something that's very subjective. Either you like something or you don't like something. Mm-hmm. Value for money and the cost of the vehicle 5 years from now, how much the car is going to depreciate. That's another thing that people are concerned about. And again, going back to my point about leasing, you know your value of your vehicle 3 years down the line because it's going to be on the signed contract that you would be signing today.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. So this is a final question that I might ask you. Like right now, like what is the best tips and advice that you can give to the newcomers and especially the first-time car buyers in Canada?
So I have a few tips and tricks I'd like to share. First of all, as I mentioned, make sure you choose the right dealership. Mm-hmm. You choose the right vehicle. So go on test drives, drive different vehicles before you make your final decision. Be upfront about what you want from your vehicle, especially if you're looking for your first car. For the majority, I would say about 95% of the people are going to be on a budget and on a strict budget at that matter. So you want to also understand that this is not going to be a final vehicle. So you want to plan accordingly. Let's say you have a budget of 30,000, maybe aim for something around 26,000, right? Because what you want to also consider are the taxes that you're going to be paying, the interest that you're going to be paying. You also want to understand that technology is going to change in 5 years. So the amount of times I hear, oh, I'm going to keep the car long term, yet I see the client 2-3 years or even 18 months to 2 years down the line at the dealership wanting a bigger and the newer vehicle. Because the way you buy cars in Canada, the way the deals are structured, it's very lucrative. You want to switch your car every 2 years, every 3 years. So cost of opportunity, that's extremely important. Cost of insurance. So doing your due diligence and research, when you know that's the right vehicle for you, call a few dealerships, see who's going to give you the best price. But that doesn't end there, right? You want to understand and qualify which salesperson you're going to do business with, because in my experience, you are going to be with them probably for the next 10 years. And that goes a long way. That goes a long way, because if you choose the right person will make sure that you are on the right track with your car buying journey.
Thank you so much.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of From Zero to Four Wheels, Getting First Car in Canada. If you want to get more advice from him, you can reach out to him at the Downtown Hyundai. If you found the episode helpful, don't forget to follow and comment below. Until next time, happy motoring. Bye-bye.
Bye.